For Chris Joseph, the game doesn't start at the tip. It starts when he comes off the bench, and that's a role he's still settling into. Jardine's success at the line comes down to nothing more than finding his routine. But for Arinze Onuaku, he hasn't quite found his yet, and that could hurt the Orange come late in games. The Lerner family is taking all the profits from the Nationals in the first 10 years and putting it right back into the farm system in hopes of getting another International League Governor's Cup right up here on this wall. But Sky Kao didn't have to make many changes except his address as he moved from the sidelines here at Georgetown to the sidelines up on the hill at Syracuse. African Americans are dominating the sports of football and basketball. But in lacrosse, there is only one on the national champions and none as All-Americans in 2008.
The first time I watched the sport, I was like, I only saw one pair of brown legs out there and I was like, wow.
The reason? There was no LeBron James or Michael Jordan as a role model. Well, until 2002, that is, when Kyle Harrison took the field for the first time at Johns Hopkins University.
Honestly, I don't think about it all the time because, like I said, I didn't set out to do that.
He would go on to be the only African American to ever win lacrosse's version of the Heisman Trophy.
You can expect yourself to do well, and you can see he can do it, so why can't I,
Last year, Ramel and Shamel Bratton took the college game by storm as the #1 and #2 ranked incoming recruits, while Jovan Miller was not too far behind. Because of this extra exposure, there are many more expectations on the sophomore trio.
It's a lot of pressure, but you just take it in stride and try to do the best you can.
Every time you step on that field, there's a certain expectation that you have to try to fill.
Because you're representing yourself and all the other African-American players in the sport.
Out here on the field in full pads, the only color that really stands out is that on the jerseys. But now with Kyle Harrison paving the way for players like Miller and the Brattons, skin color is getting harder and harder to overlook.
I feel like we have this issue of looking back and saying, we're still not enough black people involved in the game and they treat us differently. No, we're starting to do it. I think we've got a couple right now. I won't say any names. We got a couple that could end up being some of the best players to ever pick up a stick.
If Harrison, the Brattons, and Miller have their way, African Americans will be dominating the sport of lacrosse as well in the near future. For ESPNU Campus Connection, I'm John Irwin. Welcome back, I'm John Irwin. In heading into their weekend matchup, the Orange had a conference record of 7-1, while DePaul sported the exact opposite, 1-7. Needless to say, this was not expected to be close, but #4 Syracuse did get all they could handle from the Blue Demons. So heading to Chicago and the Allstate Arena, where DePaul's leading scorer Will Walker would carry them throughout. Let's find him in the corner right here, one of 5 trays on the day for him, part of an 18-point lead in the first half for DePaul. Now Andy Rounds will respond with a 3 of his own as SU climbed back within 4 at halftime. And here Wes Johnson with the emphatic slam ties up the game for Syracuse. Next possession, Scoop Jardine slicing through the defense high off the glass to give SU their first lead of the game. Now Syracuse up by 5. Walker again, a deep 3-pointer, nothing but net for him. And now 5 seconds left, SU up by 2. Walker tries another 3, misses, and DePaul cannot get off another shot to beat the buzzer, so Syracuse escapes 59-57 and keeps their winning streak alive. Moving to the NBA, the Knicks stayed in their comfort zone at the Garden and welcomed in former Syracuse star Johnny Flynn and the NBA's worst team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Well, the Knickerbockers had each one of their starters finish in double figures, but that was not enough to stop the Timberwolves tandem of Al Jefferson and Kevin Love. They scored 22 and 25 points respectively and each pulled down 11 boards, while Johnny Flynn finished with 6 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists himself as the T-Wolves easily won 112-91. Second time all year they've had back-to-back wins. But the marquee matchup in the NBA was at the other Garden, where the Celtics hosted the Lakers. Lakers started off hot with an 11-point lead in the first quarter, but Boston would come back and take an 11-point lead in the fourth. But when they needed it, Paul Pierce picked up a key offensive foul that gave the Lakers the ball with time running out. And who else do you want with the ball in the Lakers than Kobe Bryant with the game on the line? You get the ball and hit a tough go-ahead jumper with Ray Allen right in his face. They'll leave 7.3 seconds left for the Celtics to respond, and Ray Allen would get his chance for some revenge, but his shot just short. So the Lakers pulled it out 90-89. Well, the Orange basketball team off to yet another hot start this year, sitting at 7-0. Closest game so far for them, a 15-point victory over Cornell. And now the Orange draw Maine. If you remember all the way back to football season, the Black Bears gave SU a scare in the first half of that one. Trying to do the same thing this time around on the hardwood. Heading into the Carrier Dome, but SU would handle it early and often. Brandon Trish to get things going. First points of the game, 2-0 SU, easy coast-to-coast layup for him. That's as close as Maine would get. And after a few back-and-forth passes from Andy Routens to Brandon Trish, he finally decides to have the pull-up J, three-pointer for him. 9-3 SU, he would lead the team in points with 16. Now, first play of the second half, SU now up 60-12. Yeah, that's kind of a run right there. Trish still getting in the action. An and-one layup helps them pull away for a 50-point lead. And later on in the second half, Scoop Jardine finds Chris Joseph for the layup. And then just 5 minutes later, they try to do the same thing, but they get a little more style points here in this one as Scoop Jardine throws it up for the alley-oop. And they end up pulling away 101-55, the final score. Let's hear what the guys had to say after this one.
I want to play a team, get better every day, and it was a chance to get better tonight, and we did.
I mean, we came out man in the second half, and that's something we need to work on just in case we need to switch defenses at times. And, you don't want to come out sloppy in the second half. You want to keep competing, and you don't want to pick up bad habits in a game like this.
Come into these games and just play hard. Don't think about who you're playing. Just focus on what you want to do as a team, not who we're playing or, what kind of guys they have on their team. We just want to always focus on what we're supposed to do.
And taking a look at where the Orange now stand in the country, they moved up one spot to number 7 in the AP poll and number 6 in the coaches poll since Duke ended up losing to Wisconsin. The Big East also well represented in the top 10 with Villanova and West Virginia joining Syracuse. Another big matchup for the Orange coming up Thursday as they are set to take on number 10 Florida in Tampa. And though Syracuse football won't be heading to a bowl game this time around, the rest of the national picture took shape after the BCS selection show. Undefeated Big East champion Cincinnati, not quite getting a chance to play for the national championship, but they do draw a tough opponent in Florida for their trip to the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day. In the national championship, heavy Southern flavor with that one, an Alabama and Texas showdown.